What's going on, traders? Who's ready for another Money Mitch? Let's go ahead. Let's dive right in, guys. We're going to explain why these 11 stocks are ripping. Coal, baby. You know it, guys. We watched it yesterday, looked for it today, made some great gains. We'll talk about it right here on Money Mitch. Hit the thumbs on up. And like you always, guys, let's get it started right here.
It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now we all know the bull market is here to stay. Money Mitch.
How we doing out there, traders? Let's go ahead. Let's dive on in. We'll talk about the market. We'll talk about coal. We've been looking at it since the EU mentioned, of course, of the banning of Russia coal, oil, and other goods, energy and gas. Now we're looking at what can potentially continue to drive coal. We'll continue to watch it. We did see some break on out. We'll talk about those. But of course, the market bouncing back today. Is this the rally to go ahead and get us on back? I'm not sure, but one thing I will point out is the weekly level on the SPY. I think that's important to watch, and we're going to keep watching that for the rest of the week. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at that weekly and see what we see in the SPY. So let's go towards the weekly here. One of the things you're going to start seeing is there's a 440 number that I think we got to really pay attention. That's from this week here. That was on the 25th of March. We cracked below that. We went towards a low of this week on the 436.65. Now we're back above that 440 level. It's around the 440 and you got 68 here. So that's going to be the level that I'm going to be looking for it to hold above for the rest of the day. If it can hold that, we're going to be looking a lot better. But if it tests down below that, we could break down through this kind of bottoming action that we saw here around the 438s. This is the SPY, so we'll see what happens. Let's take a quick look at the Qs to see how that's doing. You can see the bounce there off the 337s. And just for that case, let's take a look at some IWM. This is one thing I want to start paying attention a little bit more, seeing how the IWM is and seeing if it can get back there, start giving us that bullish sense that we could take a look at some of these smaller stocks, and seeing the Russell run would be nice to see. Of course, let's see if we can get back above that 210, and you can see this bottoming action around the 200s. But if it takes it out on the downside through that 195, look out, because it could be coming down there closer towards the 175 level. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what was hot and what was not. We always do this here. We're going to go through sector and industry analysis. I think this is one of the most important things to do, and what I love to do here. This is how I find the big moves. How do I go ahead and can say that, hey, how did you get that move? Really, it's all about taking a little bit of a backwards approach than a forward approach. We first start with the macro. We start from sectors and we work our way to the micro approach, getting into stocks, not the opposite around where we look for a stock that's hyped and then we go ahead and look at what industry they're in and what sector they're in. That's the other way around. We like to work from sectors into industries and then into stocks. So let's go ahead. Let's dive right in. Here are our sectors at the top. Consumer cyclical leading the day today and the change. We'll look at change from the open because that's what I really like to pay attention to. Consumer cyclicals leading us there. What was strong in consumer cyclicals? It was lodging. Now, lodging actually looks pretty nice. If you take a look here at the weekly, look how this industry is setting on up. It's setting on up to put a nice little bullish engulfing candle above this trend line and really start pushing. So what are some names you could be watching in here? You could be watching this HTHT. We're going to look to see if this comes back. But really, Marriott with a good day today. Look at that chart on Marriott starting to push there. Weekly has that nice bullish engulfing candle here. If this can close above here, this is going to be looking strong there for Marriott. And of course, you can take a look at some other names like Hyatt. You got Hilton looking good. Look how this has a nice resistance above there around the 150. Right around this 154 level. It's going to be looking good if we can get back above there for a breakout above 160. All right, we're going to be watching also. You can take a look at this TNL, see if that comes back. And just to give a couple more here, just because this is what I really like doing, is taking a look at the charts. What stands out to you? Sometimes charts are just going to stand out to you. So look at this one. This is Choice Hotels. Of course, you guys know this is kind of more of your budget group here, but it is bottoming out there, and it looks nice. Nice little 135 sideways pennant. If it gets back into this area, this is going to be looking great here. This is CHH in lodging. And as we said once more, take a look at the industry, and you can see here the industry is looking good and looks like it wants to make a move back up towards the upside. Resorts and casinos finding some bottoming action. We'll see how those move. But today, Playa doing good today. VAC, which is actually kind of Marriott's like kind of long-term rentals, that's looking like it's coming back. Keep an eye on stocks like that. MGM had him in a good day, but I'm not the biggest fan of the casinos. Well, let's go ahead. Let's keep going. Gambling getting a little bit of a bounce. Let's go to technology, where the semiconductors didn't do that bad. If you take a look at the capitalization, we're going to take a look at NVIDIA here, bouncing on back about 3% day, finding some weekly support. You can see here around the 217 level, we found some support, and we've been down here before. If we could really come back rallying through the 230s tomorrow, that's going to make it look really good. I'll be watching NVIDIA, but of course, a lot of these have been dropping down. AMD also. Let's take a look at the daily candle here on NVIDIA. And you can see here, you found some bottoming action near that 215. We'll see if we can get back through that level on the downside. Really, I'm not the biggest component of these right now because of the interest rates, but you can see today they had a nice bounce. Intel also having a nice bounce there. QCOM having a good day too. You guys can take a watch on that. And then Marvel with a 5% day if you want to call out like maybe a leader here in these high kind of capitalization stocks. Also SKYT, Skywater Technology having a good day, but that's a cheaper stock there. All right, let's go to basic materials, where none other than, of course, the coal plays that we talked about yesterday went and what? Let's go ahead. Let's take a look. What did they do? All right, let's go. Let's see what we got here on those charts. We're going to look at basic materials, and then we're going to go into what? Into coal. We've been talking about coal the last 2 days, and look at that. Nice breakout on the industry. Overall, the industry broke out about 13.52% in the last 2 days. We talked about this HNRG yesterday, how this was setting up. Look at that nice breakout above the trend line here. Cheaper name really getting that lift today above that 4 and now up there towards 5. But the one that we've been really looking at, CEIX, really taking off. AREC, this is the cheaper name. Just be careful with this one, but it is getting off the support. We'll see if this one can eventually make a move. METC, one that we've been watching for a while, been giving levels on. Look at that break on out there from the 1550s all the way up there to 1920s already. This is a 20% move in just the last 2 days in METC. One that we called out yesterday that we were looking for the breakout. We'd looked at these exact levels, looking for a push through the 38s, getting on up there through the 39. And today, this one actually had a high of 41.24. Let's take a look here. Right out the gates, this one kind of ripped on up there towards the high. That made like an 8.6% move. But if you take a look at it, it's holding the price action really well here. And it held now. Now we're going to look for maybe a test down towards 39.75s. But it shouldn't break the 39 on the downside, and looking for that continuation. HCC, Warrior Met Coal here. Definitely keep your eyes on these coal players. ARCH, look at that 2-day move, just breaking out big there. And of course, one of our favorites, BTU. One of the ways that you can attack BTU that it did today is looking at an hourly chart, looking for a breakdown of that hourly support and then a recovery of that hour support going into the afternoon is a good way to see the pattern of BTU ripping on up. All right, let's go ahead. Let's keep going. Other basic materials doing well today. You saw aluminum having a good day. So ACH is the ones that I'll mention there. You can see AA right here boosting back here. We'll see if it takes out a trend line here. You can see there's a trend line that this is coming into. Can it get to 90 and then start pushing back towards 93? We'll see if aluminum can push. Now, one of the areas that we have been looking at is silver. 2 stocks right here that we've been looking at is EXK and AG. Look at these nice pushes. We've been talking about it since this box. Nice little push here now. It's been 4 days and it's a 22.96% move here in a silver name EXK. All right. AG here, First Majestic Silver, also making a nice push out. We've been watching this one. Look how this one broke back through that 13, now getting up there towards 14. It's been about what, 4 or 5 days straight into the green now, about 10% move. This is a smaller name, but it's also going into resistance now. So just be careful because you are getting in towards a little bit of a resistance longer term. But if it can get through that 1436, there's some space to get up there towards 15. So we'll be watching right there if AG can have another good day. And of course, what would that be? That'd be silver having a good day. Lumber and wood production bouncing back a little bit, but I'm not too bullish on that industry chart. Copper bouncing back a little bit also. FCX could come back. Nice bottoming action around the 47.75 level. If you wanted to use that as a bogey, I don't see that bad going through 50 tomorrow, but not my favorite one right here, but I'll be watching this tomorrow to see if we can get up there towards 50. I'll set a price alert for live trading. Like always, guys, if you guys see me going through this, we do go through these stocks during live trading. So that's the best way to catch these as we're going into the market. But we're going to be watching to see if the basic materials can continue to run. A lot of these picking up some steam today. And of course, PPI coming on out, that might have helped it, showing that what? Inflation still rising, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look here. What are some other names we can watch here? Of course, gold here pushing on up. NUE had a really nice day here. I'm going to call out some of those. NEM gold here pushing on up. Also, look at this. Look at this trend here. Oh, that's holding trend nice there. NEM pushed on up there. AU is the one that I'm watching to see if this can starts pushing tomorrow. So watch for AU to get moving. But also what had a nice day too, GOLD. Not a bad day trying to get through that high. There's multiple highs to get through now. Let's see if it gets to 26 tomorrow. Let's take a look here at some of the bigger movers also. Let's take a look. What else do we got? I'm trying to call out some bigger names here because there's a lot of gold plays actually. What do we got here? WPM. Let's take a look at this one. Wheaton Gold, precious gold. Let's take a look at the weekly here. As you're seeing a nice push here, you could see a pullback towards 50. You already got that today where it pulled back underneath that 50 and then pushed out. Let's see if this one can really start continuing and getting some drive. You can see how it did a nice little push out, then pull back towards the support. Now pushing back, could have a nice push to continue here. What's a nice high that's the next level? Let's take a look here. Next level I have over here, hit it today around 51.13s. And from there, you can really have some lift towards 54. WPM and GLD has been one that we've been watching, going to have that continuation. Let's see if this one can continue making moves. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get out of basic materials. What did bad today is utilities. Utilities kind of pulled back a little bit, but I'm not too concerned about this because it's not the biggest pullback. We'll be watching to see if these kind of really do crack down. Of course, these don't do the best in a high interest rate environment, but the inflation's actually helping the utilities. So I think we still got a little bit of run, but yes, we saw some pullback today. All right, guys, so let's go ahead. Let's talk about some of the reopening trade. That is really where we saw some big booming today. The airlines, you can see American Airlines pushing up big here. I got a good trade on DAL here early on in the day. And, man, this one eventually just ripping on up. Nice hourly chart on Delta. You can see here, nice kind of flag pattern pushing back on up, holding towards the top of the price pattern now around the 41s. We'll see if this can continue to run. And you can see AAL pushing today, UAL getting a nice lift, Love getting a nice lift. So a lot of these airlines getting good pushes. I'm wondering if the cruise lines get moving. You can see here on the daily, this is trying to push through the 20s. We'll see if this can really start moving back up towards 22. Nice little bottoming action around the 1872. So I'm going to be watching Carnival to see if it really gets moving tomorrow. And, of course, you could also watch like RCL, Royal Caribbean. Let's see if that can hold this 81 and start pushing towards 85. One that did have a good day today, not an impressive stock that I didn't expect to see up there. Peloton getting a little bit of bottoming action. Who knows? Maybe this one can get a little bit of a lift. What are some other names that had a good one today? Is Expedia. You could look at those names, kind of reopening trade there. Airbnb. Boom. Nice candle put in there on Airbnb. Take a look at this monthly. This monthly has a huge bullish engulfing candle. If this could get into a nice green, end up by 190s, it's going to be a great month there for Airbnb. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's take a second here. We got about 15 minutes left. I can keep going through some stocks. I want to go ahead and I'm going to cover some of the EV components that I did see move on up right now. But you guys in the chat, go ahead and throw up some tickers because we will go into ticker time right after I get through some EV components. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look there. What components do I want to take a look at? First, batteries. Let's take a look how QuantumScape kind of ended the day. I am seeing this bottoming action by the 1776. So I'm waiting to see if we're going to get a big, nice little breakout on QS back towards the resistance right there around 2180s to start seeing that, hey, yeah, these can start moving again. I'll take a look at some LiDAR plays to see if they can find some bottoming action and take out the recent high. That's 1635 on Lazar. AUR has been a strong one as of late after they put out some news. It did pull back a couple days, now finding some lift. We'll see what happens on these. You could look at LiDAR. You could look at ChargePoint. This is charging infrastructure. Let's see if these can finally bottom on out and come back towards the high and take out that high. We'll see what happens in those. And for that case, you did see today, I did see Amazon finding some bottoming at 3,000. Last time the market rallied, it was with that Amazon run. So keep your eyes on Amazon. Strong bottom there at 3,000 today. And you can see here the low went to 299.2. That could be a good indicator for the market. Also the same thing for Apple. Apple coming back towards that 170. I've talked about that 170.28 plenty of times. Let's see if it holds that and keeps going on up to 172. Or do we come back towards the 165 to see the market get taken down? SQ being thrown up in the chat. Time to get through some stocks from the chat. Like always, guys, you guys out there, smash the like. Let's go ahead. Let's keep it going here. All right, SQ here. Let's go ahead. Let's see what we're seeing in SQ. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback on the daily. Nice bottoming around the 120. That's going to be the level that I'd be watching right now. If it can hold 120 and get back to its 140, you're not feeling that bad about it. But really, if it does crack the 120, you got to be careful because you could see a breakdown where it comes down into this area, the 100s. And I don't know if you want to take part in that kind of risk. AMC says Ben Currington. I'll go ahead and I'll cover it for you. I got no problem. You can see some bottoming action right around here. Around the 1750s. So that's the level that I would want to see hold right now. If you take a look at probably the 15-minute, you're going to see it a little clearer. Actually, let's go a little bit even further. Let's go towards the hourly. And so on the hourly, what do we see? Right over here around this 1743s, that can't break on the downside because you get the continuation. But it does have that nice kind of like rounding pattern here. Really needs to get through 19 tomorrow and get that strong day. Mullen says Zen Bush. What are you trying to do? You trying to get a mullet? That's what I talk about when you're trading Mullen. You know, you got to just be careful. I would watch this long-term trend line until it gets to 250 and up there towards 275. I wouldn't be interested. But like always, guys, make your own investment decision. Take a look at the 4-hour chart. It's a nice looking chart here, right? 1 up, 1 down, 2 up, 2 down, 3 up. It could come all the way back down towards that 220 first and then give you that pop. So I would wait to see that bottoming action around the 220s, around the 225s before I see that pop towards 3. But then I'd be interested above, let's say, the 250s into 3. All right, we'll see what happens on that one. What do you think about AMC? Just covered it for Eugene. Also, any info on SRRA? Big jump today. Held because it held for a while. Hope it holds. I'll take a look at it for you. All right, this is an oncology stock here. We'll see if this can continue making a lift here. One thing that I can clearly see is this is going sideways right now. So as long as it keeps going sideways, you're looking good here. Consolidation towards an upside move. If it does break big support, that's where you got to be concerned. Lows around, let's say 53.75, around 53.60. I'd give it to 53.50s. If that breaks, then I'd be concerned. But right now it is holding kind of this upward price action. ride. You trying to ride into the sunset, man? Because that's what maybe ride might do here. We'll see what happens here. Daily chart has it coming down. We'll see if it breaks the $2 on the downside. Really, I would try to stay away right now. Let's keep going. VRTX says Willow Puff. I'll take a look at that. Appreciate you being a member, Willow. Go ahead. Let's get into it. Pharmaceutical stock really taking off. Man, this stock has been a strong stock. Don't know when I drew this line here. Look here. Looks like I created this on September 21st. And man, has this been an absolute monster. This had nice bottoming action here, then really rallied and hasn't looked back. Now it's getting towards like this all-time high. Around 295 is where I'm starting to see some kind of topping out action here. But let's go ahead. Let's draw it on the monthly. The monthly, you just ran into that resistance around 290s. And then above that resistance, the next level is going to be somewhere around the 295. So if I was into this one from the very bottom, I'd probably be looking to sell a little piece into that 300. But like always, determine what is your best reward target there. I do like it when it comes into resistance to sell into. But like always, make your own investment decision. All right, let's go ahead. Alex wants AXP. AXP, let's go. American Express here, getting a little bit of a hold here. It doesn't look too bad. The monthly's not looking that bad. It is going a little bit sideways here. I would draw kind of a trend line here to kind of wait for this to really start holding here because the 200 is right below it. And if we take a look at the weekly, it's going to look a little bit cleaner here. You can see here, every time you crack here, you recovered strong. I wouldn't want it to crack back down here because it could get towards 155. I want it to hold here, find the 50-day on the weekly, and then just start trending back up towards these highs where you can see here, it is kind of trending on up here, but it lost steam after the third push. One push, pull back, push. One push, pull back, push. Pull back, push. It should hold that line now. Shouldn't break that channel if you're going to see that upside action through the 200s. All right, ATER. That one was a huge monster rip today. We talked about this one on live trading. How could you have traded this one? We've talked about this last time, and someone really appreciated me breaking this down. So let's go ahead and do this today. Let's do a breakdown of how you could have traded ATER, huge mover, and we did trade this one on live trading. It wasn't me, but hey, that's what it's all about. How could I have attacked this one, right? So pre-market look, let's say we're looking at this one around 9 a.m., right? We get into the desk, we sit down, we're like, okay, so ATER is on our gappers list. Do we have a catalyst? We'll look to see because that's what I look to see. I want to see a story stock, a lot of people looking at it, a catalyst, maybe a fundamental catalyst, maybe a price raise, and then technically looking like it wants to break out. But let's go ahead. Let's take a look here. What are we getting? In the early market, you get this kind of topping action around the 527s, right? And there's this also other high here. Let me go ahead and scoot this up a little bit here and pull it down so you can see that high. And then so there's this other high that you can draw off the extremes, and now you're looking to see if that's going to play into resistance again. So one of the things that this chart clearly does is the rule of three. 1, 2, 3. 3 attempts to break out. What I'd look for after that 3 attempt to break out, I'm looking for a hold to support, longer term support, and for it to come back up roaring and break out through that level the next time it goes. So then we can look at drawing some support. Where do I see some support? I see some support around this 471. Let's go sideways towards the 9 a.m. and seeing if we can get that near that support to see if we got a near entry. So if you look at that 471, it kind of comes down towards this other resistance here and creates a new support around the 478. Didn't come down to that 471, so I'm not going to say I would have been triggered, but maybe if I get off this 478 level, we would have been triggered somewhere in between that zone. And you can see how it comes back to it. But what does it do? It holds that. And that's the important part because you're looking for that hold. We just talked about it, the rule of 3, right? And so after you get that third resistance, if that holds support, the next time it comes up there, you're expecting that breakout. So even if I missed that support, as this comes up towards that push, I'm looking for that second resistance for the breakout, and I could look for a scalp above that level. And you can see here, when you come back through that level, you do get a nice extension on up. And then I'd look for that pullback to hold that level. Look how it holds the 537, and then just boom, it continues to give you that lift and give you that lift. And you could have made some great gain through that 550, getting it back up there towards 650. And that was the real gain right there. All right, not a bad look there. ATER, and we'll see what happens tomorrow if it can continue making moves. All right, let's go ahead. Let's keep going. What other ones can I do? Willow Puff, I got you, man. Let's keep going. ASTR. ASTR is Astria Space. Let's take a look at this one. Let's go towards an hourly chart, and you can see a clearer chart here. What are we seeing? We're seeing a nice bullish trend that it's trying to come back towards. So it doesn't look too bad. We're looking for it to come back into the 4 zone. That's for sure. And then one of the things that I can see here is you kind of tried to break down once, you tried to break down 2, tried to break down 3, even 4 times. So I wouldn't want to see it break this 367 here. If it comes down to that level, it's okay for it to like maybe tomorrow do a little dip, but you're going to look for that extension back up through that and getting up there towards, let's say, 385, 395s to really give you that lift through 4. All right, we'll see what happens on that one. Black Sky. Black Sky is one that I'll tell you right now, steady growth. I never thought I'd see Black Sky all the way down here. It's a stock that I think could, turn around the story. But let's just go ahead and take a look at the chart. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look there. BKSY, Black Sky here, getting some bottoming action around the 190s. I'm going to look at a deeper time frame just to help us out here. So you can see on the weekly, we're really not changing. Nothing has really changed here, at least for me on the weekly. So I would look even at the monthly and wait till I get a green month on the monthly. If this could break above, let's say 258, then that could be my trigger. But for right now, I'd be using the monthlies and look for a change in trend. AIRG. I don't know this one, so I'm just holding on there. I just want to make sure I put it in here, right? And you can see this one's starting to break down a little bit. Off the monthlies, it's actually cutting below this. And so just be careful because you could get a nice little pop off this level. So we'll see if these levels kind of hold here and you get a pop right back on up there towards the 15. Let's take a look at the daily. Do we got sideways consolidation here? No, but we did break below it and now pushing back above it here. This one's going to be an interesting one. I don't know the story. So I don't know if this is low flow, and that's why it makes these moves. But it definitely pushed on up in after hours up there towards about, let's say, what do we got towards 884. Now you can see a pullback. I would look for a pullback towards 766 tomorrow and look to catch that on the bounce. That was AIRG, and that was for you, MD. If there's time, will you check out MOS? Oh, MOS. I don't know why I said MOS. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at this. This is agricultural products. This has been an absolute monster. We were looking at this back on March 25th, and we updated it. I think we started looking at the 7th, and we looked at this was actually looked at on the 25th, and we measured from the 7th across to the 21st. So there you can see the 7th to the 21st. I like the way it keeps the data. That's why it's important for me. I look to see if, okay, so I was looking for it to hold here on this pattern. It got back above, and look what happens here. Classic throwback, right? So when we see the breakout, when we get this pullback, we want to see if it's going to be able to hold that pullback to show you that the breakout was confirmed. And you can see how it pulled back, and then boom. Nice confirmed breakout there in MOS. If it just continues to hold this trend line, I think you're not looking too bad. You can kind of draw it up from the body here. If you really like, you draw the body, you hold it to these wicks, and you look for that to kind of keep holding here. Another thing that matters is holding the pullback towards this resistance. And so you can see here how you cut through it once, and then you recovered. You got that nice pullback towards near it, and you recovered. So that's the level that you're looking at now. For me, 71.50. If that breaks on the downside, I'd probably just take the profit, but it's looking like it wants to hold the trend. We'll see what happens on MOS. But like always, determine your own investment decisions, guys. NNDM falling wedge on the daily. Let's take a look real quick. All right, this is going to be the last one for me of the day. Nano Dimensions. Hey, we'll see what happens on this one. Yes, and I do see kind of a wedge action here. But one thing I do see on this one is that there's not much here. At least down to this action, you were getting this kind of reversal signs. You were looking for it, and now it's looking to take out that low. You got to be careful. If you do take out that low, you could come back down even further down, let's say to test back down over here towards 71 cents. And of course, I don't think anybody wants to see that one come down that far down. One thing that is helping it is that you do have one bottoming action, two bottoming action, three bottoming action, four bottoming action during this level. So if it can hold, you can maybe get that push back. But if it breaks 308, be careful because you could see that extended downside action. All right, that's going to do it for me. Like always, guys, keep building with us right here on Benzinga. Smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. We talked about a lot today. We got into coal. We talked about the overall market. Where is the weekly level that we should be watching to see if we can hold to continue to see that relative strength in the SPY? We're also going to keep watching, of course, the coal players on out there. We saw today what reopening plays getting hot, so keep those on watch. Airlines really leading the way. The question I would give tomorrow is look to see if the cruise line follows. So that's what I'll be watching tomorrow. If the airlines continue hot, I'll be watching for those cruise lines to catch the bid. Another area where we can continue watching is we're still seeing strength all over the basic materials, not just in coal, aluminum, silver. We're going to keep watching. Steel had a good day today. NUE, good breakout on steel. So keep watching that inflationary trade. Another area, of course, is to not stop watching, of course, live trading with Benzinga. They've been really hot. Ryan and Zunaid have been catching some big movers before they've taken off. Like the same today, we had ATER. The day prior, we had VERU. I've been taking some good trades. You guys go check us out tomorrow. That's going to be on live trading. And of course, like always, guys, smash the like button. That starts at 9:05. And I'll see you next time right here on, of course, Money Mitch, guys. Like always, who dances to the outro song? Let me know in the comments below because I'm not going to lie. I feel a little swag when I hear this song. Let's go.